Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, you know, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
The following podcast is brought to you exclusively by the Rad Rob Radio Network.
Welcome to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. This podcast is hard-hitting, in-depth, cutting-edge look into the sport of bowling. You will get unfettered access into the mind of one of the most gifted bowlers of this generation, who just happens to be the son of a living legend. So, without further ado, let's introduce you to the host of the show, Rad Rob Francois, Dr. Ocho, and the incomparable Johnny Petraglia Jr.
Hey guys, welcome back to Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. This is episode number 12, and I am your host, Rad Rob Francois. I sincerely hope everybody's doing well all around the world, and thank you for being here. Joined, as always, by my co-host. He is the generalized doctor, the man with the best 214 average in New Jersey. Yeah, that's all I got. You don't have a lot of attributes. I mean, you got tiny arms.
I have plenty of attributes, and
you got these little T-Rex arms. But you got the guns, but then you got the
T-Rex
small
arms are because my chest is so goddamn big. So quit with that shit. Don't act like because my arms are freaking T-Rex like. It's because I'm jacked and juicy as hell, and I can still throw a bowling ball, and I'm crushing it now. See, nobody even asks about that anymore. No one wants to know. Hey, Ocho, you had a couple bad weeks. 10-pin drop-off, but no, Oach is crushing it. So we'll leave that for another time when my average is up to freaking 238 or 258 or something, or 288 for all I know.
The only man with 2 torn labrums that can still pat himself on the back.
Because I go underhand.
Dr. Ocho, what's going on, buddy?
It's great to be here. I'm glad you invited me again.
That's good to have you here. I mean, it's week.
Is it good, Rob?
No,
you really trash me all the time.
12 weeks now, buddy. We made it. We made it to 12 episodes. I'm proud of you.
Looks like we made it.
Don't get us in trouble with DMCA, please.
Because I sound just like it, don't I?
You do.
We're going to get copyrighted.
Exactly.
Copyrighted.
Also joining us, the third member of the team, but he's number 1 in your hearts. The self-proclaimed. No, he's not self-proclaimed. I proclaim him every single week.
You're a dick for saying that.
The sexiest bowler in the world. The man with the amazing lats and traps and buys and tries. Not so much a leg guy, but his face makes up for that. It is Johnny Petraglia Jr. Good evening, sir. Glad to have you back on the show. Well, of course it's back on the show. Your name's on the fucking show.
Always great to be here. I've reached a new level of my fitness journey while we're talking about self-proclaimed awesomeness over here. I finally got to my 230 weight. So
oh, wow.
I'm actually in the stage now of trimming down about 10 of it. And then next month we'll do the same thing. But I woke up a couple days ago and like everything's starting to like just kind of look as it should now. So it's getting me even more pumped up to keep going.
That's fantastic.
I go to the dentist at that time every week, by the way. Every time I go, it's always at 2:30.
2:30, it does. Yeah, it's weird. It's every week.
Not every week because I don't have that many dental problems, but at 2:30, I'd love to be at the dentist. I'm just a lot lighter than that because I'm fucking shredded.
Shredded with lettuce. We're going to mix it up this week. Typically, we go with Petraglia Unplugged for the first segment, but we have such great questions for the mailbag this week. We're going to start there first. So, without further ado, let's get into your questions. Let's take a ride. Let's take a ride to the fucking bowling alley. What is wrong with me? I swear to God,
It's every other week, Rob. You seriously shit the bed every other week. You weren't bad last week.
It happens.
You're just really bad.
It literally happens.
It's not that you weren't bad. You just weren't there, which was great. You actually were great because you weren't there.
Let's get into Johnny's Pro Shop. Here we go.
Please.
Welcome to Johnny's Pro Shop. This is the place to learn from one of the best. Johnny Jr. will answer any questions you may have about all things bowling. So come in, feel free to look around, and JP Jr. will help you improve your game.
All right, gentlemen, let's get into the mailbag. We got some very good questions, like I said. Starting off first, Tony from Jacksonville, Florida writes, "Hey, Johnny, in light of the recent show with your dad, can you have him back on? I can't tell you how much fun that was to watch, and I'd also love to see other pros too. Please keep up the good work. I really love your show." Well, that's fantastic. We do need to get the old man back on because, man, I'm telling you, I can listen to him tell stories all night long, and I know you have just a Rolodex of professional bowlers too as well. So yeah, it'd be nice to get him back on and other people. So let's get that going, brother.
Yeah, Tone, thanks for the kind words. Dad's always willing to join this program, as any other ones where he gets to discuss what he loves. And one of the reasons why he does it is for viewers such as yourself. So again, thanks for the warm words, and we'll definitely have him as well as some others on here. And just a couple names to throw out there that will be on future episodes, just because they're so close to home. Marshall Kent, Anthony Simonson, just to name a couple. But guys like that will be on some shows here in the upcoming future, as well as some not as recognizable faces in the bowling industry, but also bring a ton of knowledge and a ton of wealth to the table. So looking forward to those shows.
Are any of them masked like me? Is there any other?
I can make one of them.
No, I not. They can't just. They can't. You can't make them.
You can't just throw a mask on.
Give me one other one. No. I just.
There's only one hotel.
All right,
generalized,
that's fine.
but there's only one.
That's true. There is.
Ain't it amazing how specific I am, but yet how generalized I am. Good for you guys.
There can be only one.
You won't be able to see very well, Cotton.
Our second question, Johnny. It's good to see that your dad isn't out of touch. A lot of love for Johnny Sr. Many people say that I'm out of touch. I have forgotten more than most people ever know. He is still sharp as a tack, and last week's show was such good shit, pal. That comes from Vince in Greenwich, Connecticut.
Dad's never, ever been out of touch when it comes to logic of any situation. But my dad will be the first one to tell you that he's very stubborn when it comes to the present and then the future. He's very stuck in his ways. As you know, as I get older, I get stuck in certain ways of myself. I'm still in my late 30s, so I'm still more likely to evolve or attempt to evolve. Just I got a lot more time on this earth, so I kind of have to. But
yeah, but at the age of 76, then you're gonna go. You know what? Screw it.
76.
I'm staying at this. I made it this far.
Yeah, he can still bowl. He can still cash at senior events, even though he bitches about the ball he's using. Like, he still does things that some people never even were capable of doing. And
some people can't stand, and he's doing that. He's cashing at events. That's the amazing thing.
It's amazing to me that, I mean, I found it really, really funny that he gave you shit for going back to urethane balls, but that's what he threw when he made most of his money and won most of his tournaments. And then once resin came out, he's like, "This shit's great, bro. You know, fucking, I'm never throwing." It's just
this
funny.
ties directly into the question / statement.
Yeah,
because I mean, even on the 300 show, he told you he didn't even think about going to get that ball out of the locker.
Yeah,
why? He was already 100% set in his brain. There was no reason for it.
Yeah,
it could have been $100,000 mistake, and it would have been if Ray Edwards wasn't there.
That's true.
So like. He was out of touch, I guess, then, as far as jumping like off of the traditional, hey, I got to stick with this ball and make the little moves and change my hand. Like, just throw the magic ball. He said in the interview last week also that one light hit, the 12th one, he said that hit left a 10-pin all week. Remember him saying that?
Yep.
Yeah, Dad, because you threw a Purple Rhino Pro all week that probably has 150 games on it. But you go into the locker room and you grab the ball that has 6 shots on it. That's the newest technology, and it's designed to do exactly what it's doing on these lanes right now. Of course, you're going to have a distinct advantage over the field now, and you're one of the best in the world. And, of course, that 10-pin is going to fall because it's a new ball. It's going to carry more. Those are the things about being out of touch with what's real that I've run into, well, personally, is like, I know how good I am with urethane, rubber, and plastic that I'm fearful to try resin 75% of the time because I'm so overly confident in what I do with the shit that doesn't roll good.
Then you might drop back a few steps and then have to relearn a little bit, and then you say, you know what? Why change what's already working with what I'm doing?
Exactly.
Hey,
Which
someone made a good
what I
point.
am doing.
Yeah.
Someone made a good point also on that show a couple weeks ago where it was, they pointed out how Senior was there wasn't much area in the 70s, so he would have to line up somewhat near the gutter, which is how now people want to try to play. But then once the resin came in, he loved opening up the lane, but still he won most of his tournaments in the 70s, right? From what I understand, I remember he led the tour in earnings in 71. He won three tournaments in a row.
He won at least 12 of his 14 national championships in the 70s.
That was you that said that. I got to figure. I'm trying to reach back in the Ocho brain, but I remember.
Yeah, because he won in Fort Smith in 66. Then he went to Vietnam, 67 and 69. Then he came back. He won 5 titles on the fall tour in 71. U.S. Open 77, 1980 was the national championship. That was his 14th U.S. or PBA title. So,
and he wasn't opening up the lane in 1980, I don't think, right?
No, he
just loved to. But he was, for some reason, maybe it's seeing how far it is from the gutter and knowing you're nowhere near it that gives you that confidence to just kind of freewheel it or something. But like, I don't know. That's always
been Dad says what he says, and but my dad's also an historian. He likes to look at facts, and for me, I've always looked at the exact same facts that we just talked about. Yeah, Dad, you were the best in the world, but when you were the best in the world, you did this.
Yeah.
You every once in a while dominated this. But yeah, so it's a tricky question for me because I see both sides. And like, I hate playing straight, but if I have to, put me against the gutter. I have no problem playing outside the first arrow, but I have a very hard time playing like 8, 9, 10. Or the general left-handed area.
Gotcha. The actual track
inside the third arrow or outside the first. Get me away from the track because I can't see up the lane in front of me. I feel like every shot's going to go through the nose.
That's how I bowl, though. I mean, I'd stand in the second dot and throw it up the second arrow. I mean, it's just that's me with not a high rev rate. That's just kind of that's my pocket. I mean, that's
man. How'd this come up? Holy shit! Who did this?
Our viewer was talking about how being out of touch and how Dad's not.
Yeah, exactly.
Gotcha.
But I mean,
trying to let him know that Dad isn't. We're all out of touch in our own ways.
So, yeah. I mean, you saw him, down the 300 game. He's standing on the right side of the approach, and he's fucking swinging it out, and that ball,
which is where he wanted to be, and he made it a freaking precursor.
That ball had a ridiculous
That's where I want to be.
I
want to stand there. That's my comfort zone.
Well, every lefty wants to hook it. You know what I mean? Like, that was our dream.
No, but can they hook it? No, you want to, but can't. Like, whereas like JP said, Norm Duke up 5, Walter Ray up 5 or up 10. And then you got your other guys that want to be inside. That's their strength. He was talking about, there was a show maybe 8 weeks ago. Now it's probably about 4 weeks ago, but I wanted to say 8. And these patterns, the bowling patterns, made it so that the guys could play their strengths rather than the best bowler was going to win. It was the guy who matched up with the shot best one. But again, it's just kind of funny how he had to win most of his tournaments Senior by playing towards the gutter because the ball didn't move that much. You had to create your own angle, and because if you went straight at it, there's deflection.
So when the technology came out and the oil patterns changed,
he wanted to jump inside.
Yeah.
But yet nobody knew that. So it's just, for him, I guess he just said, hey man, this is where I feel great. I'm going to do it. He still won, obviously, still was great. But it's just, now you try and set him up to win the tournaments now, as was his original 1970 status. And maybe old habits are hard to forget or hard to remember, I guess, because when you crush for something so good, I love a 7-iron more than anything. And if I got to hit a freaking 4-iron, I don't want to. And maybe I just won't. I'll hit 2 7-irons, I guess. And that's my own fault. Maybe that's how we feel when we get into something we're super comfortable with.
Johnny, did he change his shot because of the equipment? And because of the oil patterns changing, I mean, did he have to adapt, or could he have just kept on throwing urethane and just went straight up 5?
No, you couldn't have in the resin era. You would have never been able to keep up, because at the time when urethane was the only motion, the oil patterns kind of catered to it.
Yeah.
Once the resin balls came out and they hydroplaned in the front part of the lane and stored energy, those guys had a distinct advantage, and urethane became a thing of the past when resin was introduced. It's only when resin started to get out of control and patterns started becoming overly sensitive that the gentle motion of urethane now makes sense again.
When you say oversensitive, do you mean because everybody knows how to play it and then it tracks out so quick, it burns up so quick, or there's just not enough oil, or you give this to the amateurs here?
Wait, what? Which ball?
When you say a pattern, no, the pattern, not the ball. When a pattern is oversensitive, do you mean that it means that everybody wants to play the pattern a certain way so it burns up too quick? Or are you just saying,
no,
give us the specs of that?
When I say a pattern is overly sensitive, when they first apply oil to a lane, it's called bowling on the fresh. So the oil and the dry are very much their own entity. There's no blend to them whatsoever. So if you take a resin bowling ball, and let's say you're trying to make the ball change direction at 38 feet. If you get the ball to the dry zone at 36 feet, the ball is going to go dead through the heart. You're going to go right through the nose, and you're probably going to leave a split because there's no oil moved from the center of the lane.
It's so start and stop almost. There's oil and then instantly dry, and then
valley. They're very cliffed.
So the friction picks up quick.
Exactly. Think about taking like a bouncy ball, like a Spalding ball you would hit in a stickball game, and spinning it really hard. The second it touches the floor,
it flicks the other way.
Pick that way, right? That's what I mean by volatile oil patterns.
Gotcha.
So whenever you watch a tournament, most right-handers, I'm using righties because there's more of them.
That's the majority, sure.
Yeah. Most right-handers in the early going, games 1, 2, 3, will stay somewhere around the track area, around the second arrow. Second or third arrow, pretty much try and stay underneath the ball, create forward roll, do anything they can to eliminate the sensitivity and the volatility down lane.
So they want a smoother curve rather than a snap, I guess, is what you're saying.
Exactly. This is the time when urethane now becomes the quote-unquote cheater ball, because you don't have to manipulate your hand with urethane ball. With a urethane ball, you can throw it the way you throw a resin ball, and it already creates the blend because its motion is happening closer to you. So all you have to do at that point really is adjust your speed and the surface of the urethane ball that you're using. So what happens is eventually on the tough volatile oil patterns, urethane stays in play the whole time. So if the scoring pace is, say, a 215 average for urethane, it's most likely going to be hard to average 210 with resin. So there's times where urethane is not in play because resin still does what it's supposed to do, and that's go through the pins a lot stronger, provide a lot more miss room. But it seems to work more when the lanes are softer or easier.
You called the first layer, the first pattern fresh, and then so as you bowl on it, so now you're talking the oil's going to break down, or
it carries down, or gets mixed around,
or hang, and
it's going to blend.
It's going to blend. Yeah.
Imagine like Abraham Lincoln's hat, right? So the top of the hat to the slope is the oil, and then the brim that goes out, that's the dry. Now imagine pressing down on that hat to the point where now it almost slurves from the top of the hat to the brim of the hat.
Or like a paintbrush almost, where you're dragging a paint and you're thinning it out or something towards the...
Yes, you're blending it. So if you can, once the oil starts to blend and it softens the peaks and valleys of the oil pattern, that's what creates the funnel effect. So when you start on the fresh, ideally the goal is to stay around even. Once you hit the blend, that's when the scores usually skyrocket. And then the burn is when there's been so many games bowled that the front part of the lane, all of the oil is now off of it. And that's when the guys with the big balls usually whack them. The guys that get in front of the ball.
So the guys that can hook it and throw it over and loft it, or
Right.
But they're still using the resin and not the urethane, though, right?
At that point, yes. Yes, because as the oil dissipates in the front and moves to the back, you need to create more angle downstream to get through.
Right. So they're hunting for the oil. They're literally looking for oil for the bowling ball to hit at that point.
Any good professional will tell you they're always looking for a spot on the lane that if they miss inside of target, the ball holds. No bowler's ever looking for bounce. No pro bowler ever cares how much it hooks when they throw it right or left away from the head pin. They care about missing inside their target. And does the ball lay here for a 4-pin or a 6-pin?
No shit.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So you want almost
close your angles.
That's the kind of stuff we get here.
Tighten your angles. That's what they're talking about.
This is shit on Straight Up 5.
That's the kind of shit we got here. That's right.
And I'm figuring it out too. So
which is good. This is what we're doing. We're here to teach people. I got a lot of friends that listen to this show that know nothing about bowling, but love listening to it because number one, we have great chemistry, but number two, they love learning stuff about bowling that they never knew before. And Johnny Petraglia Jr. brings that every single week. That's why we got him here. Our third question comes from John in West Newbury, Massachusetts. Dear Johnny, we see no thumb. We see two-handers. Will we ever just see a palm ball? So what he's asking is anyone ever going to throw a ball without any fingers or anything in it? Just fucking palm the ball like a basketball and have at it. Do you think, is that a thing? Can that be a realistic style?
No.
Fair enough.
I don't think so. Technically, if you wanted to get legal, yeah, I guess you can, because a bowling ball, as long as it has the allotted top and side weight with no holes in it, you can, I guess, legally throw it.
Yeah.
But again, you would have to be a full-time palm bowler.
Right.
Because you're no longer allowed to have any vacant holes in a bowling ball.
Right.
Which means you would only be able to throw balls with no holes in them.
So Shaq could do it. Like Rob was talking last week. Rob was talking last week about Shaq with his free throws and whatnot. So Shaq could probably throw it because he's the only guy with a hand big enough that could palm a freaking bowling ball.
Well, I just figured it's just a natural progression, right? We went from one hand to two hands. Why not just?
I'll tell you what you will see. Because as the years progress, there's going to be more and more two-handers.
Oh, here it comes. Here it comes. Here it comes. Episode, what was it, 11 on Straight Up 5? Oh, my God. Here it is. Here it is. 12. That's what I said.
As the generations continue to get more and more two-handers in this sport, the one issue two-handers will always face is speed. Anybody that throws it with two hands or no thumb will never have a problem curving a ball. But there are people who are not going to be able or not understand or not have the physical capabilities to generate the momentum with the body that's needed to generate the speed to do it like a Belmo or a Simo. I think, having said that, the hardest spares to shoot at are corner pins. So it wouldn't surprise me, because my leadoff on my Thursday trio does this, if two-handers started using plastic balls or spare balls with no fingers to cut their revs down, similar to the way David Ozio used to take, and Gary Dickinson used to take their ring finger out of the ball to shoot a 10-pin, because you're
John
eliminating.
L does that. Holy Jesus!
That's eliminating the power finger.
Yeah,
but he misses every 10-pin though, so it doesn't matter. But sorry, no, go ahead. But right, no, is that the equivalent of flattening out the wrist? I guess, like, because you have there's no fingers in it. Gotcha.
Yes. So I could see, because like I said, my leadoff shoots, he literally takes the white Belmo spare ball with no fingers and no thumb in the ball, and he shoots his 10 pins.
Yeah.
But I can't ever foresee anybody that would willingly take out an entire tool necessary in this sport to try and compete. If you're an asshole, you can do it. But
you just wouldn't carry, I assume. Like you get a few strikes.
Unless your rev rate was 1,200, which right. This is like telling a baseball pitcher that throws 107, you throw it too hard. So we want you to throw only change-ups, so you only throw at 87. It's like the most idiotic thing I could think of. Like if you're not accurate and you throw it 107 miles an hour, Ricky Vaughn, we'll get you a pair of glasses. But I want to work with that. I want to work with somebody who has a dominant rev rate. I don't want to work with somebody who feels like they're too powerful to need finger holes.
Well, if we can break it down a little bit, just structurally, anatomically, mechanically, not putting holes in the ball. It's a perfect, pristine ball. Mm-hmm. What would that do to the ball as far as how it hits, how it rolls? I mean, provided they can, I would assume, have a hand big enough to hold it, but be more of a cradle, have more, their arm cradled and maybe put a glove on so they had grip on it. Could they get enough revs out of that ball, and how would it hit?
It would curve. Again, its surface is everything. The thing is you would have to consistently put your hand in the same place on the ball and know exactly where that would be.
Right. Like a football. Like a quarterback would do with a football, right?
Yeah, but there's laces on a football.
True. Good point. Well,
the same way a piano player knows where the A, C, and G are without looking at the piano. You just know where things are. So in this situation, no, you would physically have to say, okay, where's the pin? I'm laying my palm 2 inches below the pin. The mass bias is swung on my vertical axis line, and I have to make sure that I only rotate this much. My hand's dry. That there's just so many things that can go wrong for no additional incentive. You're eliminating power from the game. It doesn't matter if you're Captain America. You're not going to be able to ever do to a ball without the use of your fingers that you know.
Okay, that's fair.
With them.
I just want to see if it was not only possible to have success with that kind of shot, but I mean, if anybody would want to go through that.
Well, how do we measure success? Because to me, if you can throw a turkey with no fingers or thumb in the ball, that's successful to me.
True.
The same way I feel about people that throw a backup ball. Mm-hmm. I respect people for figuring out a way to throw strikes in bowling to throw a backup ball. But what I can't stand about somebody that throws a backup ball is the limitations they've put on themselves in choosing to do that.
What's a backup ball?
It's a right-hander that releases a ball like a lefty. So their fingers go to the right.
Spin the opposite way.
So they hook it so do they stand
in the opposite direction?
Yeah.
So do they stand like to the right and like hook it, or do they just?
Yeah, a righty would stand where I stand and slide where I slide.
So they stand to the left and then let it roll. Oh my God!
They just turn their hand the opposite way. Yeah.
So we have our doctor here. You know as well as anybody that your hand rotates towards the center of your body a hell of a lot easier than it does away.
It's not anatomical position. It actually is exactly opposite of anatomical position.
Which then means you are limited to playing the second arrow or the first arrow and dead straight.
Plus, there's only so much rotation. There's only so much external rotation you can get as opposed to internal rotation. So,
well, I mean, what they do pretty much is they don't follow straight up. I mean, they just kind of,
so they must just
audio
flatten it out
podcast,
so much. They must flatten it so much that like it kind of pops off and their ring fingers. I don't even know. So I
knew a couple of people growing up that did it.
Like people talk about worrying about longevity when it comes to two-handers. Backup bowler, that's like the fastest way to ending your bowling career.
Yeah.
And
so there's bowlers that do this, like not just amateurs.
For their whole lives. For their whole lives.
Well, back in the day, it was more of a thing. I don't know if it's I can't even remember the last time I saw one, but I knew a lot of women that did that.
The only person to me, and again, there's always an exception to every rule, that gets away with it is Anthony Simonson. And that's because he's young and he's the best bowler, one of the best bowlers in the world.
No, but the ball hooks. Wait. Oh,
Anthony Simonson has a PBA title, a PBA regional title, bowling the title match with a backup ball. You can watch it on YouTube.
He's a lefty, right? Am I getting the right guy?
Righty.
Sorry, I'm thinking of. Oh, number. Okay. And
I think you're thinking of Jesper.
Yeah. Okay. So he bowled it and curved it like a lefty.
And won a PBA title. Now, Anthony is one of the most ridiculous. He's like, in my eyes, the equivalent of a Pete Weber talent.
That's obviously like seriously. If you can do that, like that's switch hitting when you've never fucking switch hit in your life against major league pitching. I feel like.
Right.
I mean, I don't know. Like that's
even so, and Anthony being one of the best bowlers in the world. Even so, Anthony, the deepest Anthony can play throwing a backup ball is the third arrow. Even Anthony can't get into the fourth arrow. So that right there tells you just like don't do it. It's just not smart.
Is that
So,
on
well,
TV somewhere? Is that on YouTube? Is it?
It was on the Extra Frame on the.
Fuck you, Rob. I'm interested in this.
He literally said it was on YouTube. Fuckface, why don't you listen to him?
Well, now he said it's on Extra Frame. He didn't say it's on YouTube.
He did say it was on YouTube. But.
Yes, it's on YouTube.
All right. Well,
I can't remember what regional it was, but it's Anthony Simonson beats Matt Sanders using a backup ball, and Matt Sanders is lefty. So
that's
did he do that purposely to ruin his track?
No, I think he did it because he thought he had legit the best chance to beat Matt Sanders.
Oh, all right. Well, poor Matt Sanders.
But that's kind of yeah. So that's all I got on that.
We should get Matt Sanders here as a guest one day. Whoever the fuck is.
Another good guy. He'd be great on this show.
On that note, it is time to wrap up the segment. When we come back, Johnny's going to get unplugged. We'll be right back.
How to have fun anytime, anywhere. Step 1. Go to ChumbaCasino.com.
ChumbaCasino.com. Got it.
Step 2. Collect your welcome bonus.
Come to Papa welcome bonus.
Step 3. Play hundreds of casino-style games for free.
That's a lot of games. All for free?
Step 4. Unleash your excitement.
Chumba Casino has been delivering thrills for over a decade. So claim your free welcome bonus now and live the Chumba life. Visit ChumbaCasino.com.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to Straight Up 5. It's now time for Petraglia Unplugged. We never know what Johnny is going to say, so if you have small humans around, you may want to have them leave the room. We'll wait. No, really. We literally have no idea what Junior will say. Great, thanks. Here is Petraglia Unplugged.
So, Mr. Petraglia Jr.
Yeah.
What's on your mind?
I'm going to start my rant this week by saying that I want next week's questions or comments to kind of be associated, because this is more of a Q&A, but I'm just going to deliver the questions today.
Provide making demands already?
Yeah, I know, right? What the fuck does the guy think he is?
Episode 12?
We are on episode 12, so I'm asking for more customer interaction, because this is one that I very rarely talk about, probably because I never really used to. I've always been unsure if I've really given a shit about this or not. And now that I've lived in different parts of the country, I'm going to start my rant by asking both of you a question.
Well, this really isn't unplugged.
Oh,
holy shit.
Goddamn.
Rob, have you bowled? You're in Tennessee now, right?
Correct.
Do you bowl at all down there?
I do.
You do? Okay. When you lived in Connecticut, what was standard lane courtesy in your leagues?
In my leagues, 2 lanes.
Thank you. How about Tennessee?
Don't even know if they know what that is. Typically one. It's definitely one.
At the Golden Corral, you can't have mashed potatoes if you have fried chicken, but you have to.
I haven't bowled too many leagues down here, but the one that I subbed for was definitely 1 lane. They couldn't enforce 2 because, I don't know, maybe it's just the people down here that they don't have the fucking capacity to grasp that concept, but no.
Now let's alienate half the freaking.
Oh, fuck them. That's fine.
This is a perfect start. So in Tennessee, it's pretty much 1, but it was always 2 in Connecticut.
Correct.
Now, real quick for the viewers, when I'm talking about lane courtesy, I'm talking about when you go to bowl in any standard league or any standard tournament, there's kind of an unspoken rule, unless it's spoken about prior to the start, that there's a standard courtesy. In other words, if I'm on lane 40 and Rob's on lane 39 and Ocho is on lane 38, if Ocho's up on lane 38, if I'm in Connecticut, I'm supposed to wait for Ocho to bowl before I bowl on lane 40. If I'm in Tennessee, I can bowl on lane 40, but Rob can't bowl on lane 39 because Ocho's on 38 and I'm on 40. I'm pretty sure everybody's got that, right?
Correct.
Ocho, you bowl league in New Jersey. What standard lane courtesy where you live?
2. Unless you're bowling with John L., then it's Route 9. But no, it's 2. It's a 2-lane courtesy as always, and it's not even discussed. It's actually never been discussed. It's almost like such an understanding. Mm-hmm. much like losing the 10% VIG in gambling. It's an understanding. You know you got to pay the VIG.
Before you get back to your point, Johnny, break it down for the people that may not know why it is important to give that courtesy. What does that do when you're up there and you're trying to focus?
For me, number one, it eliminates peripheral issues.
Exactly.
When you're
for anybody, like the point of the reason somebody came up with it is what I guess.
Bowling's about focus, and when you're up there trying to execute a perfect shot, timing's got to be right, release has got to be right. You don't want to be worried about Joe Schmo smacking a ball return 2 lanes over from you or taking air standing on the approach. It's usually you want to be focused, and 2 lanes provides not having to see anybody in your peripherals when you're bowling. That's pretty standard. It's just common courtesy. If you see somebody's up at the towel rack already wiping their ball and they got their hand over the air vent and you're only walking up to the lane, you should have the courtesy to let the guy that's already ahead
That's
of you.
where I thought you were going to go with this too here. That's exactly where I thought you were really going to go, because it's almost like
what I'll do is because a lot of times when you're more well-known in bowling, I guess it's like walking by a bigger guy in a gym. You're kind of afraid to talk to it. You assume because he's big, he's going to be an asshole too.
Nobody talks to me at the gym. I know. You're right.
I know you know that pain. So like when I'm on the lanes, everybody always wants to be courteous and let me go first. To a point that the only way that I can be courteous, I literally walk away. Like I go pretend like I had to answer a text message or go take a sip of water or throw something out in the trash. That's my courteous way of saying, I appreciate this, but I'm not going to do this all night. Get used to this once or twice, that when you're ready to go, I don't give a fuck. Just go, But anyway, my point is, when I was bowling in New Jersey, not only was it 2-lane courtesy, but if you so much as even thought about stepping on that approach while somebody was 2 lanes over from you, they couldn't wait to fucking snarl at you and look at you like you had 3 heads and slam that fucking ball back on that ball return, just to let you know how big of a piece of shit you are for not abiding by the socially accepted rule of this geographic region of the country. So as times evolved and I've lived in different places, the Midwest, now I'm in Vegas. And at our league meeting in Vegas every year,
I'm already laughing. I'm sorry.
The first thing that they say is, this is a 1-lane courtesy league. No ifs, ands, or buts. It's 1-lane courtesy. Period. End of story. These are the best bowlers in Vegas. We observe 1-lane courtesy. Our league starts practice at 7 p.m. 4-man league. Practice is done at 7:10, 7:12. I am in my car driving home no later than 9:40 p.m. every single Tuesday. It takes 2.5 hours to bowl. Nobody bitches. Nobody complains. Nobody ever slams a ball on the rack. It's just established in the rules. It's 1-lane courtesy.
That must have got taken used to, though, JP. Like, that's got to be
something. It took me about a year to get comfortable with it, because
even just never seeing it. No, but just never seeing it or never even experiencing it. I mean, I guess.
Right. It wasn't so much that I was distracted, because nothing distracts me. I high five people that are walking off the approach that made a spare while I'm setting my feet.
I'll tell a nice ball as I'm throwing, so I get it.
I kick balls out of the way of the ball return while I'm aiming sometimes. Like, people run shots out that like they almost graze me and I still throw shots. That's how mentally focused I am when I bowl. I worry more about when I see somebody if I'm fucking them up, because I know the way everybody is back east. East,
it's in your own head now.
Person. Yeah. And I'm like, Jesus, is this guy standing here thinking the same thing that everybody from back home used to do with 2 lanes? Because it's 1 lane, because that's the visual I'm getting. I guess my base of the rant is I want to know collectively how everybody feels about lane courtesy. I can take
why is it a 1-lane courtesy? Who decided that? And like, I mean, I don't know.
In the interest of saving time, and
time is what it is,
which is worth money, especially in a place like Vegas where everybody wants to go to the movies and bowling at 9:30 on a Tuesday night. They want us the fuck out of there, man. They don't want us holding up the lanes until 10:30. That's an hour of lineage at $6.50 a game and $4 shoes for a family.
And they'd rather not have the 3-man league because they want the extra guy each.
Right.
It's a great point.
Shit.
It's a great point. Now, but Johnny, how do you feel about it, though? I mean, what would you prefer?
Because I'm not drinking anymore, and league night is more of a getaway for me in the respect that I go there, I talk to my teammates, I listen to music in one ear while I bowl, and, I kind of just go through the motions. I get a little stoned before I get there. And, typically for me, that I enjoy that I'm in and out now because I'm not gambling and I'm not drinking anymore.
Right.
Old me, I would want to be feeling pretty good by the middle of game 3 and see who else wanted to. That way I have somebody to go sit in the pub with until midnight.
Yeah.
If I was still doing that, I could give a fuck less about lane courtesy or how long it took to bowl. But now, I get up early and I do shit in the morning, and I don't want to be stuck in a bowling alley until 11 p.m. or 10:45.
No one ever bitches in practice about lane courtesy, and they still throw the same good shots too. Anyone ever noticed that?
Exactly,
because there is no lane courtesy. You walk up
and you're looser,
same pace,
too.
and you're right. I get it's like being on the driving range versus the golf course. I get that, but I mean, obviously it can be done. I never thought of it as what is it on tour, JP?
On tour, they have the greatest lane courtesy in human existence.
Is it like a left-right thing or something like that? Like a stop sign or?
It's one pair courtesy. So here,
all right, so you have to be on the pair.
I'm on 37 and 38. Rob is on 39 and 40. Ocho's on 41 and 42. Rob gets up on lane 39 to throw his first shot.
Neither of us can go at that point.
Ocho are waiting.
Okay.
Rob throws a shot and he gets a 6 count. He doesn't shoot that spare until me and Ocho go.
Oh, so it's ready golf almost. Ready bowl. So
you throw one pros come off, so it goes 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2 the whole day. Everybody finishes the game at the exact same time.
And they're professionals and they freaking oh, that's great.
The only thing that ever causes an issue is if there's a lane breakdown. And then that cross slows down.
Or guy running with 10 and no, that still makes the same sense because if he's got 8 in a row, you still have to throw your shot. So
just closing it. Let's say Rob throws a strike. We still go next. And then when we throw our first shots, if me and you both get 9 counts, we don't shoot our 9 counts until the next bowler on Rob's pair throws his first
Gotcha.
ball.
So there's always in sync.
It's always in sync.
I didn't know that.
And that can't be done on league, obviously. You can't ever have that. I get that, but
no. I can only imagine Ocho in game 3, frame 7 saying, "Oh fuck! I forgot it was my turn and not both of y'all's turn."
Not me. What are you talking about? I'm mentally focused. What do you think about does it change per league? I would think.
It changes per league. It changes per state. It changes per. Again, I'm talking.
There's got to be leagues in your bowling alley that are, church leagues or something that they have the 2-lane courtesy, maybe, or does that not even exist anymore?
Non-existent out here.
No shit. Okay.
Non-existent for tournament play. Also, it does not exist out here.
What was it when I bowled there? Because I thought it was 2-lane.
1. USBC throws it up there on the screen. You are 18 minutes behind pace. Please keep up with
I threw so many strikes, I didn't have.
Yeah, I mean, it's true.
You are fine. It's more for bowlers like me.
Yeah. Before we wrap it up, Ocho, what do you prefer? Do you care either way?
No, I like what I'm used to. So 2-lane is fine by me. I can still throw regardless because, again, like JP said, I'll be walking in my approach as the guy's coming back after he threw a strike, and I'll be on step 3 going, "Nice ball, buddy," and I'll still bury one, but I'm still in my shot. There really is a peripheral thing, though. Maybe so it's something what I'm used to. I wouldn't care. I'm sure I'd get used to it, but out of habit, it's just I'd probably sit there like an idiot doing 2-lane courtesy, not even knowing it was
right.
only 1 lane.
That's all you know, right?
But I'm also ready golf too, so I can. I'm sure I could come up with it.
I mean, I'd rather do one, for time saving purposes, like Johnny said. Typically, if we're just recreationally bowling, and you got some schmucko just standing on the approach the entire fucking time, throws a shot and never leaves the fucking approach and just stands there waiting for the ball to come back. So I'll just be sitting there.
I'm a bad example too because I'm on a 3-man league, so we're already out in an hour and a half. So you know what I mean. And especially again, as many strikes as I throw, I throw an 850 and 840. I'm out the door soon.
So you see, that's a good point because my Thursday league is a 3-man league, but we bowl 4 games, and we get done at the exact same time on Thursday that we do on Tuesday. So it takes us the exact
same protocol,
2 hours and 30 minutes, same protocol to bowl 4 games as a trio as it does 4 games or 3 games as a foursome on Tuesday.
They got it figured out. Oh, shit. I'm sorry. Fuck you, Rob.
That wraps it up. Let's get back. Sorry, Oach. I mean, I know you like to talk a lot. I mean, sometimes I got to put a curb on it. We're on a tight schedule here. I'm going to cut all that out. Don't worry about it.
All right, good.
We're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to get into our third segment, which is straight shooting. We'll be right back right after this.
Hello, it is Ryan, and I was on a flight the other day playing one of my favorite social spin slot games on ChumbaCasino.com. I looked over at the person sitting next to me, and you know what they were doing? They were also playing Chumba Casino. Everybody's loving having fun with it. Chumba Casino is home to hundreds of casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com to claim your free welcome bonus. That's ChumbaCasino.com and live the Chumba life.
Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back to Straight Up 5. It's time for Straight Shooting. Johnny Jr. and the boys sit around, tell stories, and hopefully teach everyone some life lessons. Nothing is off limits. They let it all hang out. Get ready for some straight shooting.
We didn't really get into this last week, and it's something we've kind of done tradition. God, right, shut the fuck up. I don't know why I keep hitting the same button twice. It's the yips, I'm telling you. We didn't talk about leagues really that much last week, but Johnny, you said you kind of corrected what's been going wrong with your game, and you've had better results. What's going on? What'd you do?
I went back to plastic.
Okay. All right, that's fair.
What was happening was
you're so big and large now, and you're just fucking shredded that you had to.
I was certainly getting around it too much and using too much of the lane.
Yeah.
So that could have something to do with different shape of the body, but what was really happening was I got so used to bowling in the plaza where at South Point, where the fresh lane beds, the ball skated through the front part of the lane so well. That I got away with getting around it a little bit more. And in this bowling center, because it's been here for so much longer, where it's positioned in the building, this bowling alley has a lot of friction in the front part of the lane. And your highest strike percentage in this building is going at the pins, not away from them. So what I remembered I did in years past before I moved into the arena was I would throw it a little bit higher, a little bit harder, and really, really focus on staying up the back of it. Because if I stay completely under the ball, no matter how hard I grab it, it's never too volatile with especially plastic. So my last 4 or 5 league sets, I think my worst set is 716, and I shot 1,017 on Thursday. And but I've been on a string of where like even my lowest game during that stretch is about 230. So I've been averaging upwards of like the mid 250s over the last 21 games. And it's all because more games under my belt, number one. 2, the lanes have blended, now the lanes have gotten back to their traditional characteristics. They've gone away from the choppiness of all the tournament patterns and everything that was there previously. So the consistency is there. So again, any house hack like myself who has all of these things available to them and they start going back to what I'm used to, at some point my talent's going to take over. So I got myself in the right part of the lane with the right release, and now I've always had an extremely, extremely high carry percentage when my ball hits the pins. It's very rare that I leave much of anything when it comes to single pins. My problem is I get a lot of 6 counts. But that's really been the big thing, is staying more committed, a little bit more knee bend, a little bit more reach with the follow through. I noticed that with more mass on top, I started choking off the follow through. limited by the amount of flexibility I have forward with my arm. So just a couple little minute changes there. And then, of course, as we talked earlier, the commitment of the shot comes from the confidence. So once I started bowling higher numbers and remembering who the fuck I am, it started to all kind of come back together. So now I
have such a better story, by the way.
Thank God, because I feel like I'm tooting my own horn over here. Go.
Before you get to it, I do have a couple follow-up questions.
You enjoy them.
Being the fact that it's a different cover stock, how does a plastic ball still able to hit hard as opposed to urethane or resin or something with a harder shell? I guess is it because of the rev rate?
Every ball has an elixir from the person throwing it. So if the rev rate and the speed and the entry angle all match, it doesn't matter what you're throwing. I have mid 16 mile an hour speed with no thumb, with a rev rate above 550.
Okay.
Above 600 when I want to hit it.
What was that word before? The enterprise?
Entry angle?
No, you said I'm licking something. I'm lixing. Come on, for the amateurs, you really said a word like elixir. Is that a real word?
Yeah.
Elixir, yeah, like a magic potion.
Oh,
it's a euphemism, asshole. Like not something he puts on the ball.
No.
I thought it was like a bowling term or something like that.
Elixir is matching up these three things. So
oh god, all right, right on.
So for me, a plastic ball with my rev rate at that speed. And I touch the surface with I touch the shell with a little bit of surface, so I dulled it a smidge. The ball's going downhill at the pins for legit 50 of the 60 feet it's on the lane, or 45 of 55 feet if you subtract the loft.
Rob, be a pro, Rob.
Sorry, you're just a fucking moron. It really tickled me. I'm sorry. Sorry, Johnny, go ahead.
No, it's good. So, and it's one of my tricks, man. I strike with shit that nobody strikes with. I have 3 sanctioned 300s with other people's spare balls. I have a sanctioned 300 with this chick Dawn from New Jersey. Dawn used to bowl at Howell with us.
Dawn, who had the wrist surgery. She was, of course, I know Dawn.
Your son's an awesome bowler.
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah.
Mike's actually a weightlifter now too.
Oh, good, nice. Dawn, I used her. She had one of those the spiral visiballs that were just
the one that hypnotized you when you freaking throw it. Yes, of course.
My middle finger fit perfectly in her thumb hole, and I did that in both 300 with her ball.
If you said that to Dawn, she would say, "Oh, thank God you said that."
Oh, good. I hope she's listening. Another one is my friend Amanda. I shot 300 with her SpongeBob Visiball. Same thing, middle finger in the thumb. And then when I came out here, Mike Machuga's Zombie Visiball. My teammate Joe, I bowled the Sanction 300 out here. So just what I like to do and what I like to see just matches up with plastic. It matches up with anything that doesn't curve. Like, I can make anything curve. Anything. And I just don't like to. There's too much more shit
so
that's
you want to throw a changeup rather than a damn fastball,
Always.
Man. Shit.
Always. I can throw changeups all day with no arm pain. I can't throw
that. You wrecked my story now, because that actually does over trump mine. I got
shocker.
It'll
yes,
off, Rob. I
would like to hear your story though. I mean, if you have,
well, I'll tell you, because I had a big problem not with my thumb hole, but with the damn finger grips were so damn tight because they're brand new grips. So while JP likes to grab someone else's bowling ball, I like to use my own. So I took a Dremel grinder and I hollowed out the little rubber finger grips to where they actually fit. I shoot a 667 because I can do that. I can take a Dremel grinder, hollow out the grips, and shoot 667 to the point where now it feels like the other bowling balls, which the following week, I just decided I want to use this other bowling ball that still feels fun and fancy with me. And I walk in with a 703. That's what Ocho can do.
Ocho.
But what was fun about the 703 actually is, and this is where, so my teammate bowled the best 143. I think JP was talking about it last week where like sometimes a win, you may bowl 155 and it sucks. Or maybe it was a couple weeks ago, but it may be a great 155 because you closed out the 10th when you needed to. And my teammate shot 3 in the 10th. We had a blind in the second guy, and I needed 3 in the 10th to win by 1. And, of course, what did Ocho do? I threw 2 in the gutter. No, I'm just kidding. No, of course I got him. I got him, damn it.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say you got 8 on the fill.
No, of course not. And then the second game, I needed 2 in the 10th and 6 to close it out. I just happened to throw all 3 because that's what Ocho does. Then I happened to just throw all 3 in the 10th the next game. It was my first 7 this year, even though it's only week 5, I think, right? But not bad. But still, I climbed out too ever since the damn Dremel. So people have a Dremel in your freaking bowling bag because you never know when you're going to need to use the grinder for it.
You could also grab a straight edge razor, regular standard box cutter razor, and trim your finger inserts. Make sure you get down in the hole too, because if you only
you don't want to angle them down the wrong way because then they get tight down the bottom. That's what the Dremel does.
If you only do the top, exactly. So if you make sure that you edge the razor perfectly where you're taking out, say, the top inch of the insert.
Shit, that's a real thing? I really thought I was onto something.
Even if it gets caught and it snags the rubber, just take like a gauze pad with a little bit of acetone and rub it, and then it dulls the rubber and it smooths out.
Oh, son of a bitch. I thought I was so innovative. I got this freaking
you were kind of
Dremel and everything.
Right? You want to know who else uses a Dremel on his finger grips? My dad.
I'm the Petraglia life coach, man. Of course he does.
At least now I know where he gets it from.
That's where he gets
it
from.
Seriously, next time you see him, look at how fucked up his finger grips are. It looks like a dog just chewed on them, and he said, "No, don't eat that. It's rubber." And then he put him back in the ball. That's how shitty his grip looks.
There you go.
And his thumb hole, dude, he uses thumb slugs or thumb molds. He bevels so much at the top of the hole that the slug becomes embedded and a part of the bowling ball. To a point that you're like, why the fuck do you even have a slug?
That doesn't even make any sense. It should just be part of the bowling ball.
That's awesome.
I used to ask him what his cuts were, like his span. And then he'd say, I think it's like 4 3/8 and 4 and this or whatever. I took a ball to measure it. I'm like, this may have been 4 3/8 before you worked on the thumb.
Now it's 8 inches at this point.
It's like not even close. So I gotta drill his thumbs, put him in, I gotta sand the thumbs a solid 10 minutes first. And then he still works on them more just to make sure I get the span close.
Why not just do them the right way the first time?
And then he hacks the grip. So he changes the pitch of the finger holes and the size of the grips and the span anyway.
Well, listen, there's a reason.
There's a reason he's a PBA Hall of Famer as well.
Well, that's like what he's the 16th greatest bowler in history. I think they deemed him.
Yeah,
and I'm probably the 88th ish or so. I know they didn't go up that high, but I got it.
Or they got you 63rd.
I mean the 88th or the 888th. I forgot which one, but I know I'm close. I know I'm ahead of Ron Glick.
Which you should have just taken to Glick and had him do it.
So's Chris Paul.
That's fair.
Shit, good point.
On that note, it is time to wrap up the show. We appreciate you guys being here. Next week, Johnny P will have his Twitter account, so we're looking forward to that.
Lucy.
Dr. Ocho, where can we find you on Twitter, my friend?
I don't know.
He is at the Dr. Ocho on Twitter, at the Dr. Ocho. I am at Rad Rob Gaming. Johnny, you got anything to say before we go?
This is really one of my favorite things to do weekly. I really enjoy shooting the shit. I enjoy talking a little rocky around the edges about something I obviously care about with people that also care about it. So special thanks to everybody out there listening, and we're looking forward to bringing you a lot more good content in the upcoming weeks. So really, I just wanted to take a minute just to thank everybody. This is really, really fun, enjoyable, and awesome for me.
There you go. Couldn't say it any better myself.
Yes.
Yeah, thanks, Ouch. Thanks for chiming in there. That's all.
Again, look, this isn't just a little standard podcast. How many times we peeled back the onion? I mean, reconstructed the crime.
True.
Look, we got people beveling shit. We got people freaking throwing plastic, sticking a middle finger up a thumb hole.
Yes, sir. That's right. Always put your middle finger in the thumb hole.
Plugging and slugging.
Gentlemen, appreciate it. Always fun doing this show with you.
That's a T-shirt, plugging and slugging. Get to the art department.
I'll get Eli right on it. Until then, guys, we will see you next week for another episode of Straight Up 5 with Johnny Petraglia Jr. Take care, guys.
Thanks for listening to Straight Up 5. If you would like to send your questions into Johnny Jr., send us an email at straightup5@gmail.com. That's straight up FIVE@gmail.com. We'll see you next time for another edition of Straight Up 5 right here on the Rad Rob Radio Network.
Hello, it is Ryan, and we could all use an extra bright spot in our day, couldn't we? Just to make up for things like sitting in traffic, doing the dishes, counting your steps, all the mundane stuff. That is why I'm such a big fan of Chumba Casino. Chumba Casino has all your favorite social casino-style games that you can play for free anytime, anywhere with daily bonuses. So sign up now at ChumbaCasino.com. That's ChumbaCasino.com.